Guys, I've got something cool to tell you about. As an engineering leader, a manager, and an engineer myself, I'm geeking out over a new product I'm just discovering that helps me with each of these points of view. The great team at SEMA, builders of the SEMA Intelligence Platform, have been working on what they call the Product Roadmap Radar. It's this integrated solution that uses generative AI to observe your code and Jira in order to summarize, synthesize, and make it easier to deliver your roadmap. It not only helps keep your roadmap on track, but it helps reduce the time engineers spend in meetings. Cue all the engineers clapping. The Product Roadmap Radar is extremely easy to set up. This only takes about 5 minutes. Just enable your integrations and let AI do all the mapping for you. My favorite part? I'm glad you asked. The radar doesn't just tell you about your roadmap. It suggests changes you need to make based on the code that's been written and the stories that have been addressed. No commenting, no special setup, all generative AI. It gives you an outside view of your roadmap based on the code and projects a target completion date based on outstanding work and activity. Again, no comments, no special setup. It even detects shadow work when development is being done but Jira isn't being updated. I'm pretty jazzed about it, and I think you will be too. Take a second to watch a short but awesome demo video. Go to codestory.co/PRR to watch it today. You'll like what you see. This episode is sponsored by Postman. Postman is the world's leading API platform, trusted by 98% of the Fortune 500 and over 40 million developers. Tap into APIs from 18,000 plus companies to power agents that make smarter decisions. Learn more at postman.com/podcast/codestory. This message is sponsored by Melee Search. Today, search isn't just a feature, it's a cornerstone. And Melee Search gives your users the experience they need with lightning-fast performance, full-text search, AI usage, and multimodal capabilities. Melee Search delivers relevant results in less than the blink of an eye. Use the promo code CODESTORY at checkout to get 2 months free at meleesearch.com. That's MEILI search.com.
We had a hypothesis. This platform or tool has to work where you work because salespeople spend a lot of their time in email and calendar. So the first approach that we had was that we should build a Chrome extension. And we actually spent a lot of time building it, prototyping it, days or weeks, right? It's not that we were trying it for years, but as soon as we got it in production, like the first resistance we felt was that it became a little bit heavy. That made the load times really hard. And then the Chrome application became extremely slow. And basically everybody was just like, as soon as they would install it, they would uninstall it or reject it. My name is Gaurav Bhattacharya, and I'm the co-founder CEO of Jiva AI.
This is Code Story, a podcast bringing you interviews with tech visionaries.
Spent 6 months moonlighting.
There's nothing on the back end.
Who share what it takes to change an industry.
I don't exactly know what to do next.
Took many goes to get right.
Who built the teams that have their back.
A company is its people.
The teams help each other achieve
Most
more.
proud of our team.
Keeping scalability top of mind.
All that infrastructure was a
Yes,
pain.
we've been fighting it as we grow.
Total waste of time. The stories you don't read in the headlines.
It's not an easy thing to achieve, mind
Took it
you.
off the shelf and dusted it off and tried it again.
To ride the ups and downs of the startup life.
You need to really
It's
want it.
not just about technology.
All this and more on Code Story.
I'm your host, Noah Labhart, and today how Gaurav Bhattacharya is building superhuman agent AI for sales, converting 3x more of your leads by engaging 24/7. This episode is brought to you by Paddle. Don't settle for less when you can have more MOR with Paddle, your merchant of record. Eliminate the headaches of payments, grow your revenue everywhere, and focus on what you do best, building your product. Get more revenue with less hassle at paddle.com. This episode is brought to you by PropelOff. People take authentication for granted, but it's more than how customers log into your product. It's how you manage your relationship with your users. The easiest way to make authentication your advantage is to use PropelOff. PropelOff is more than just functional. It's powerful. With tools like Managed UIs, Enterprise SSO, robust user management features, and actionable insights, PropelOff adapts as your product grows. And the best part? When off is effortless, your team can focus on scaling, not troubleshooting. That means more releases, happier customers, and more growth for your business. Save dev time, win over your customers, and propel your business forward with PropelOff. Check them out at propeloff.com. That's PROPELAUTH.com. Gaurav Bhattacharya grew up in New Delhi in a blue-collar family. He lost his father early in his life and took influence from his older brother and his love for programming, getting hooked on C and C++. He loves building things, including video games, of which he built his first one at the age of 12. In high school, he pursued a startup idea that led him to skip college and eventually make an exit. But outside of tech, he lives in San Francisco and continues his love for gaming. He also enjoys watching live sports, the Dodgers, Lakers, and the Warriors. At his prior startup, Gaurav and his team were working in the healthcare space. They became learners of go-to-market strategies, how to do sales, and how to do marketing. They enjoyed it so much that they grew to want to start their next company in that space. This is the creation story of Jiva AI.
One of the challenges that we had seen in our last startup was that data prediction was really important. So we started building applications for taking customer data and analyzing it for churn signals and just trying to predict if there's any revenue signals within any customer conversation. Imagine if a customer stops auto renewal, for example, does that mean there's a high likelihood of churn next month? How quickly can we get ahead of it? Or if they send us an email and they talk about this particular support ticket or this particular product issue, can we understand that and can we figure that out? And that was a very cool idea, and we built it. We almost spent 5 years. We even raised venture capital for it. But the challenge was that data is so unique for every customer. So we were almost building custom models, machine learning models for companies. And it just became a consulting company more than a software startup. So we tried a lot. We couldn't find product market fit. So we actually went back to our board and we basically said, hey, it's not working. We're going to return capital and probably try a different thing. And then the board asked us, what are you going to do next? And we basically had built Jiva internally, Noah. So kind of like the Slack story where they were actually a gaming company, but they had built Slack internally for communications. We had built Jiva internally to do sales, do hyper-personalized outreach, find leads, enrich data. We were doing a lot of signal analysis for our customers, writing hyper-personalized messaging for them. And so that was working really well. And I wanted to kind of take that and build that into a company. And basically the board said, hey, you should keep going and you should, we'll back you, we'll support you. So that's been our story. We pivoted into Jiva AI from Involve AI. That was our original company. So it's the same company that we ran for 5 years, but Jiva is brand new. It's only 9 months old. But we went from almost 0 to 5 million in annual recurring revenue. We have over 10,000 plus users now. Almost 300 enterprises use us. But it's crazy, everyone calls this a success story, Noah, but it's basically 6 years in the making. So that's how we kind of got started with Jiva AI. And basically what we do in short is we're building these tools almost like a cursor or a windsurf for sellers. So we're trying to build these agentic tools for finding leads. You can come in as a salesperson. You can say, I want to find VPs of sales in San Francisco or VPs of engineering in California who are in financial services, who also use GitHub as their primary IDE for their developers and who are in 5,000 plus employee size companies. We're going to go do the research, find the right people, the right emails, the right cell phone numbers, do deep research on every single person and company. And then that can be used to write a hyper-personalized sequence from first email, LinkedIn messages, LinkedIn connections, even WhatsApp and text messages, or even AI voice drops in the future.
Let's dive into the MVP, so that first version of Jiva that you built. How long did it take to build and what sort of tools were you using to bring it to life?
I feel we were very lucky, Noah, because we started building Jiva AI when all the AI hype was happening. So we were early adopters of everything. So we use Cursor right now. We've used Windsurf in the past for kind of as our IDE to do coding, and 99% of our code is AI generated. And we have a very small development team. I think I have about 6 engineers, but we're working 24/7. And I feel the 6 are as good as 60 because we use AI for everything. Obviously, for systems design thinking, AI is horrible at that. But for writing functions, code filling, that's kind of what we use. We used a tool called V0, which is by ourselves to do a lot of the UI development. even though we ended up trashing it and we built everything on React after that. But it was really cool to just do rapid prototyping. Like we didn't really need a designer to do Figma files for us and kind of build that. So V0 was like a big part and is still a big part of our stack to just like do rapid prototyping. Cursor is like our IDE to build it. Our backend's on Python Fast API, front end's React, because Python's really good for like all the machine learning applications. And then, we got super lucky, Noah. We got funded by Alt Capital, which is, Jack Altman runs it. Sam Altman is his brother at OpenAI. So we got a lot of like Microsoft Azure credits through it, which we use all the models. Like OpenAI is obviously the big one, but we do a lot of work with Llama and some of the open source models that are doing really well. And for some classifications, we use our own models that we built with the previous company for doing NLP classification on emails. Those are cheaper, they can run at scale, and we built those on SageMaker. For our vector DB, we use Pinecone. We also use like MongoDB as a NoSQL database, and everything's hosted on Azure. And some stuff is on AWS from the Involve AI from the pre-pivot days. So that's kind of the technology stack that we have. And a lot of like coding tools is like what we use for rapid prototyping. ChatGPT, obviously, for like all the questions. We've been playing around with Codex recently, but haven't done anything with it. So that's kind of like the tools and tech that we have right now.
So tell me about a decision or trade-off you had to make in that first MVP, right? So the first version you created, you got to make, maybe trade-offs around, I hear the tooling trade-offs and kind of what you experimented with there. I also, kind of hear approach, and typically I hear kind of acceptance of technical debt or limitation or things like that. Tell me about some of those hard ones you had to work through.
We had a hypothesis. This platform or tool has to work where you work, because salespeople spend a lot of their time in email and calendar. So the first approach that we had was that we should build a Chrome extension, because we were heavy users of Grammarly and we loved the platform. So I loved using Grammarly and some other Chrome extensions. And I was like, oh man, this is such a cool experience. We'll build a Chrome extension. It's going to be basically follow people around. And it's going to work everywhere. And we actually spent a lot of time building it, prototyping it. When I say a lot of time, it's like days or weeks, right? It's not that we were trying it for years, but still, like, we put considerable time and effort, like 24/7 sprint cycles, just building that on the way of delivery. But as soon as we got it in production, like, the first resistance we felt was that, I don't know how it was, but the way we designed it, we were not like experts at designing Chrome extensions. It became a little bit heavy. And then because like our AI has to be contextually aware, like Grammarly is basically like, hey, it's looking at the email and saying your grammar is incorrect or your spelling's wrong. But for us, like, we have to see, like, when did a salesperson speak to this company before? We have to pull data from Salesforce. We have to basically be contextually aware about the deal. And then we can write an email about the prospect, because we don't want to reach out to someone who you've already been talking to and write something else about sales when it's already a customer. So that made the load times really hard. And then the Chrome application became extremely slow. And basically everybody was just like, as soon as they would install it, they would uninstall it or reject it within like a day of use. So that was really hard for us to like let go of that. And we kind of like tried a lot to keep making it better. And then after a few months, we basically were like, oh, it's probably not working and we should just go back to having like an application or like a SaaS-based application. And then we basically built a Gmail integration natively. So that was like a really hard trade-off, because we worked really hard on hypotheses that we were very sure of. And I wish we could have like done some early tests to, see if it would work or not. And I think that kind of cost us like 3 months of a head start.
This episode is brought to you by Paddle. As a startup, you face unique challenges to stay competitive. You and your team need to stay focused on your product, not your payments. You need to do more, MOR, and DIY less. With Paddle. Paddle is your merchant of record, becoming the seller of record for your SaaS transactions, enabling your team to focus on what's important, your product. Paddle handles all payment management across multiple gateways and methods, taking ownership of tax liability while remaining compliant with regulations across all markets. The platform handles all aspects of SaaS billing models, upgrades, add-on, trials, and more. Let's look at the results. MOR revenue optimization is built into Paddle and accounts for up to 16% higher conversion rates, reduced payment failures, localized pricing, and churn prevention, recovering 40% of cancellations. Their developer-friendly tools are API first with comprehensive documentation, removing the burden from your engineers. With Paddle as your merchant of record, you'll generate more revenue, find and keep more customers, grow faster, and stay compliant everywhere. So what are you waiting for? Get more revenue with less hassle at paddle.com. Guys, I've got something cool to tell you about. As an engineering leader, a manager, and an engineer myself, I'm geeking out over a new product I'm just discovering that helps me with each of these points of view. The great team at SEMA, builders of the SEMA Intelligence Platform, have been working on what they call the Product Roadmap Radar. It's this integrated solution that uses generative AI to observe your code and Jira in order to summarize, synthesize, and make it easier to deliver your roadmap. It not only helps keep your roadmap on track, but it helps reduce the time engineers spend in meetings. Cue all the engineers clapping. The Product Roadmap Radar is extremely easy to set up. This only takes about 5 minutes. Just enable your integrations and let AI do all the mapping for you. My favorite part? I'm glad you asked. The radar doesn't just tell you about your roadmap. It suggests changes you need to make based on the code that's been written and the stories that have been addressed. No commenting, no special setup, all generative AI. It gives you an outside view of your roadmap based on the code and projects a target completion date based on outstanding work and activity. Again, no comments, no special setup. It even detects shadow work when development is being done but Jira isn't being updated. I'm pretty jazzed about it, and I think you will be too. Take a second to watch a short but awesome demo video. Go to codestory.co/PRR to watch it today. You'll like what you see. This episode is sponsored by Mailtrap, an email platform developers love. Try for free at mailtrap.io. That's mailtrap.io. This episode is sponsored by Postman. APIs are the foundation of reliable AI, and reliable APIs start with Postman. Trusted by 98% of the Fortune 500, Postman is the platform that helps over 40 million developers build and scale the APIs behind their most critical business workflows. With Postman, teams get centralized access to the latest LLMs and APIs, MCP support, and no-code workflows, all in one platform. Quickly integrate critical tools and build multi-step agents without writing a single line of code. Start building smarter, more reliable agents today. Visit postman.com/podcast/codestory to learn more. That's postman.com/podcast/codestory. This message is sponsored by .tech Domains. Picture this. You dig deep and think of an amazing name for your tech startup, spending months to perfect it. And then you settle for a cluttered .com domain with fillers and added words. Yeah, it's really disappointing. That is, unless you get a clean, sharp, and memorable .tech domain. .tech signals loud and clear that tech is at your startup's core. A .tech domain shows your focus and intent, building credibility with VCs and customers, and anyone who sees it knows instantly this is a tech startup. If you are building a tech startup, you want a .tech domain, and that's because it just makes sense. And if I were you, I'd skip the workaround domains and go straight for the loudest signal. Head over to get.tech/codestory or a domain registrar like GoDaddy or Namecheap and grab the perfect .tech domain today. That's get.tech/codestory. Okay, so then from that point, how have you progressed and matured, Jiva? And I'm curious about, wrap that in a box. I'm looking for how you built your roadmap, how you went about deciding that, okay, this is the next most important thing to build or to address.
It's become really hard now. Let's say in my last company, we would have a strategic offsite and we would decide, we would get feedback from sales, we would get feedback from marketing, we would get feedback from competitive analysis, we would get feedback from just the founders, what our vision is, where we want this market to go, what our hypothesis is. But things are changing so dynamically, especially in our market. We're in a very competitive market. I was literally telling my team yesterday that, we're competing with Silicon Valley startups that are working 7 days a week, 24/7, using AI and getting better. We have to make faster decisions. So what has changed for us, Noah, is instead of running a product roadmap, we run product hypotheses now almost, which is we have 5 unique insights that we feel we have that people don't have. And we try to act on those unique insights. And then what we try to do is have one engineer assigned to each. And their job is to, instead of building a design and building a product roadmap document and try to educate the company on what they should build and which I feel is like a useless exercise in large companies. What they do is they prototype it, and their idea is then to like sell it and see how it could be useful for users. And then what we do is we just decide that, hey, we're going to pick one and we're going to focus on that one particular problem for the remainder of the month or for this month. So we do like 1 month deployments, and our goal is to deploy one really cool like big feature or big release a month, and that's kind of how we are designing it. So it's very haphazard, Noah. Unfortunately, like I wish I had a better answer for you, but the reality is like we're kind of like just trying to build as fast as possible and try to find unique insights where we can build something really valuable that has defensibility over the next few years.
So I hear you saying we. Tell me about how you built your team, and what do you look for in those people to indicate that they're the winning horses to join you?
We have a small team. We're about 13 people now in the company. We'll be 20 when we hit 20 million. Who knows, right? So for us, we basically, like what I try to hire for is really good technical talent. I'm always leaning towards having good engineers and great engineers on the team, and then having a few sellers who are like full stack salespeople who can use tools like Jiva and ChatGPT and maybe LinkedIn Sales Navigator and can do everything from finding leads, enriching data, doing personalized outreach, and then closing deals and carrying out the sales cycle. And then we have one customer success manager who kind of does a lot and takes care of like a bunch of customers. So that's kind of what our team looks like. In terms of what I've tried to find is, one is like I love working with people who I've already worked with before. So these could be friends, these could be like people that I've worked with in the past that I know how they work, that they know how I work. And that has been like a big formula for my success, at least, to say that, who are the people I can rely on and like I know that I can bank on them. So basically trust comes like really important for me. The number 2 thing is I always look for speed. Like who is the fast moving people? Like at least in my life, no, I haven't seen a slow moving, extremely ultra successful person. Like obviously they can be decently successful, but for the ultra successful people, I've seen that they're really, really fast. Like even some of the investors that I work with that have basically invested in us, and they've made very quick decisions, either like they want to invest or not. Speed is a really big superpower. So I look for velocity, or like, because we want to move fast, we want to make fast decisions, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. I look for people that have high agency, Noah. Like I look for people who have basically skill sets where they can take ownership, they can take accountability, and they can just own a function or an area, and they don't have to be told what to be done. They just want to know the why, and maybe like some version of the what, but the how to do it and exactly what has to be built or exactly how we have to do it, they're going to go out there and figure out on their own. It's really, really hard to judge during an interview. And for that reason, I really rely on like network-based hiring, Noah. Like who does my friend know? Who did the people already work here know? Where have they worked in the past? And I try to recruit like crazy from the network to begin with.
This episode is brought to you by PropelOff. People take authentication for granted, but it's more than how customers log into your product. It's how you manage your relationship with your users. The easiest way to make authentication your advantage is to use PropelOff. PropelOff is more than just functional. It's powerful. With tools like managed UIs, enterprise SSO, robust user management features, and actionable insights, PropelOff adapts as your product grows. And the best part? When off is effortless, your team can focus on scaling, not troubleshooting. That means more releases, happier customers, and more growth for your business. Save dev time, win over your customers, and propel your business forward with PropelOff. Check them out at propeloff.com. That's PROPELAUTH.com. This episode is sponsored by MailySearch. In today's digital landscape, search isn't just a feature, it's a cornerstone. And you need a user experience that drives customer satisfaction. You need MailySearch. MailySearch is lightning fast performance, returning answers in less than 50 milliseconds. Yeah, you heard that right. Faster than the blink of an eye. The open source AI search engine is plug and play, so you can get up and running in minutes with smart presets, allowing you to start searching through your data with zero configuration. MailySearch utilizes advanced full-text search and AI, ensuring your results are ultra-relevant with semantic depth. It's multimodal, supporting images, videos, and audio, along with being federated, i.e. searching across multiple data sources. And it's developer-friendly. Whether you're building a content-rich website or enterprise application, MailySearch delivers the experience your users expect and deserve. For a limited time, CodeStory users can get 2 months free. Use the promo code CodeStory, all one word, at checkout. Just go to meilisearch.com and get started today. That's MEILI search.com. So let's flip to scalability then. I'm curious about, has there been any interesting areas where you've had to fight scalability as you've grown?
In terms of technology, like in my last company, Noah, so we would serve like the VP or the head of customer success. So there's only like one head of customer success in a company. And then there's not even like a customer operations person. There's usually a head of customer success and maybe a director level that would have access to our dashboards. And I don't know for what reason, because we are so technical and we love like building very highly scalable systems. We had this brilliant idea where we said, what if there are millions of concurrent users on our platform and they're using it every day? Spend so much time, effort, and money, Noah, thinking about what this system design architecture should be for this platform to be used by millions of people at the same time. And we literally made a lot of architectural decisions. We paid for like really crazy inference on our AI. We paid for a lot of money to AWS to set up like these scalable systems. The funny part is we never crossed 1,000 users for our last product in 5 years. And that's a funny thing, but I almost feel like I think engineers by trade and also like startup founders, I think the mistake they make is they over rely on scalability. Sam Altman has this really nice quote where he says, in companies, you either win or you lose. And that's true for any company, whether you're a public company or you're a private company and you're a small business or a startup, you're either going to win at the end or you're going to lose. It's like, don't try to over optimize for like really small things. And I think scalability is one thing, Noah, that can always be pushed out a little bit extra, a little bit later until people start complaining about glitches in the platform. And I truly believe it's the same with the business. Like, for example, like the same time last time in my last startup, we already had Salesforce, we had HubSpot, we were paying a lot of money for these scaled systems that we really didn't know how to use. And we were probably using like 10% of the functionality, but paying for 100% of their like features as an example. Now, as a CRM, I use this tool called Streak, STREAK, which is a cool tool. It basically is super cheap. It plugs into your Gmail, and it's like a really simple CRM system, which I feel is very appropriate at our stage. And when I hire 5 reps, maybe that's the right decision. When they start complaining a lot is when we are going to get a scalable system in the future. But I almost feel like there's an appropriate time until like someone is really complaining and can't do anything without that tool system. I think that's the time to put some of these processes in place and not overachieve it or not do it in advance. That's kind of what I have learned as a founder, Noah. Obviously, it depends situationally, but that's kind of my take on scalability. And so I would rather focus on product features, functionality, truly delivering value, and then worry about scalability when we actually get to scale.
So as you step out on the balcony and you look across all that you've built, what are you most proud of?
A couple of things I would say, or maybe the top thing that I would say, Noah, is that one of the things that I'm seeing is that people who are using our application, Noah, are spending like hours of their day spending time in our app. And as an example, like we have this one customer called Infotech Research Group, and they're a really cool company based out of Canada. And I want to give a shout out because we have about 550 reps in sales reps that use this product every day. And they literally spend like 3 hours, 4 hours enriching lists, finding the right people, talking to the AI, building the right email cadence. And that makes me really excited. And I think that's something that I haven't been able to ever do in any of my companies. So I'm just so excited to have finally built this. Obviously, we're so small, but the goal would be, can we build a really cool, highly addictive platform where salespeople and go-to-market people can actually spend majority of the time, do all their workflows, orchestrate their work, and get a lot of things done every day? That would be really, really cool. Because if I look at the ecosystem, like there's no tool like that for salespeople right now, Noah. Like obviously, like as developers, we spend majority of the time in our IDE, whatever that is, maybe Cursor now or Windsurf or JetBrains. right? Like there's tools for every department. Like for marketers, there's like Pardot or HubSpot, but salespeople still live in calendar and email, right? They're not living in Salesforce every single day. And I think that gets me really excited to have the opportunity to build something like that, where maybe 10 million salespeople are living like 80% of the day and getting all their work done in a single place. I think I'm excited that I built that and very excited that we have an opportunity to do that for millions of people in the future.
Let's flip the script a little bit. Tell me about a mistake you made and how you and your team responded to it.
Long time ago, it's like in my last startup, we basically had a customer and we were talking about the customer internally, and this customer was super annoying. And this did not happen with Jiva, but basically this is a high-paying customer, but a super annoying customer, and would always give us a hard time on every single thing. So we would always joke about it internally, and we would talk about it, and we would basically like refer to this customer as like, oh, this person is not technically savvy, cannot do anything. We would basically think that we are so smart, we are so technical, and the world is so stupid. And basically one time what we did was we basically like one of the engineers or someone on the team was basically saying like, oh man, it's John again, right? Or I'm obviously changing the name, but it's like, oh, it's John again. And you know, like John has issues logging into the system or something like that, right? And I responded, and you wouldn't believe me, you know, like literally like responding something like, oh man, John is like the least technical customer, something like even more derogatory. Basically, it was like the stupidest customer that I know. And I CC'd John. And I sent it out, and it was horrible. It was basically like John basically obviously felt really bad, no longer a customer. He canceled the contract, whatever. I spent a lot of time with him apologizing, but more so, there's a couple of learnings that I have from there. And this was almost like 7-8 years ago when I was still a kid. A couple of learnings that I have from it, Noah, is one is like, dude, just like before sending any email out, you got to double check, triple check. Like I love this feature on Gmail now, which has like a 3-second delay, which gives me an opportunity to see what I'm sending, who I'm sending to. It's just so important. Once you put it out in the universe, there's no getting it back. The second thing is, what I realized since then is like, the customer is always right. Like that was our audience. Like we were working with a non-technical audience. We were not selling to engineers, and that was in our audience. So we are not our customers. Our customers are our customers. Like whoever you pick, like, right? If you're picking a customer market, you have to deeply empathize with them, and which I just didn't have the concept for. I didn't understand until like I ran my first company. And that was like, that's a big learning for me. So I think that was like a big thesis. So one of the things that I really look out for now is like anytime someone's like, even customer success, like someone's like talking about the customer in a way that, oh, this is a very hard customer. That is the customer we have, right? Like we have to design our product or services around them and not like around us, because we are not our customers. So that's like a big learning for me, Noah.
Let's dive into the future. So what does the future look like for Jiva, for the product and for your team?
What we are trying to build, Noah, is like, we want Jiva AI to be like an agentic platform for sellers, for go-to-market teams. And that's kind of what we envision ourselves doing. We're spending a lot of time in making the AI contextually aware, understanding everything that lives in your Salesforce environment about your deals, about your open opportunities, what conversations you've had. It should also understand all the signals and all the intent data that's happening in the market, which companies are looking for keywords that kind of indicate which companies might be looking for your competitors. They're looking at your product or services. And this way, the AI can be smart enough to almost like, you wake up in the morning as a salesperson, Noah, what we want to do is like, hey, no, I saw that, you know, like these 20 companies are looking in your industry. Here's 10 companies that you haven't spoken to before based on your Salesforce. Here's 50 decision makers I found for you. And here's like a 20-step campaign that I've already written on your behalf, multi-channel outreach that you could just hit send, proofread, approve, send, proofread, approve, send. So that experience is extremely hard. Like as easy as it sounds, it's extremely hard to achieve on the back end. But that's kind of what we want to build, and that's the future for us. In terms of the company, we want to keep growing in terms of number of users and number of customers, and keep our core team extremely small, like as small as we can. My goal would be to get to about 100 million in revenue with just 100 people and maybe some consultants and a bunch of AI agents working together. So who knows if we do that, but that would be amazing. I would love to build. There's a lot of tools like Cursor and Lovable and like in the coding space that are doing that already and proving it can be done. And I would love the opportunity to do something like that. But obviously, like the main goal is like, can we build a business of consequence that can truly matter for many, many decades to come?
Let's switch to you, Gaurav. Who influences the way that you work? Name a person or many persons or something you look up to and why.
So a couple of people I can talk about. Number one that comes to mind right away is like my mother, Noah. And, my mom was a blue collar parent and she worked extremely hard to make sure that me and my brother get education. Even though like she does not approve that I'm working in startups, she would much rather me being like really happy and in like a stable job somewhere with good health insurance and working 9 to 5, right? Like that's the path that she would choose. But she worked extremely hard in her life, in her career, never gave up and just wanted to make sure that her kids are taken care of as a single mother. So I feel like a lot of my achievements are because of the sacrifices and the hard work that she made, but also like our parents make, right, Noah? Like that's something that I've learned is like, just be grateful to your parents and whatever they did for you. So that's something that I have learned in my life. The other person, like someone who comes to mind for me is one of my board members is this guy called Mark Mullen. And he runs a venture capital firm called Bonfire Ventures. It's actually, if not the best, the number one venture capital firm for seed founders in California. And I'm definitely sure like top 5 or top 10 in the US. But Mark's been like an amazing mentor for me. When I started working with him, I was super young. I was very naive. I was fresh off the boat in the US. I had no idea what I was doing. And Mark basically took me under his wing and he's taught me so much about people and business and sales and marketing, but also just like how to take care of myself, how to take care of my team and my customers better. And also like he's been there with me like through all the ups and downs, right? Like I've had a lot of difficulty in the businesses, like through all the pivots, and Mark's never left me, which almost makes me feel like, man, I've been so lucky to have found someone like him. At the same time, also think about like all the founders who have like horrible board members, right? Like almost the opposite, where they're not helping, where they're almost detracting from them every day, which makes me like just so incredibly lucky to have a board and have someone like Mullen on the team who's just an incredible entrepreneur, incredible VC, and an incredible board member. Doesn't happen that often, right? Like it's actually super rare to have like a really good board. And I think that's someone that I truly look up to. And I wish like every founder, every entrepreneur has like an amazing, like a mentor or an advisor or like a board member like that.
Last question, Gaurav. So you're getting on a plane and you're sitting next to a young entrepreneur who's built the next big thing. They're jazzed about it. They can't wait to show it off to the world. And can't we show it off to you right there on the plane? What advice do you give that person, having gone down this road a bit?
For a founder who's young and just starting off and is super excited and enthusiastic, I have like one piece of advice for them. And I would say that just whatever you're picking on doing, just commit to it, or in your mind, know that it's going to take much longer. And that's something that I wish I knew before. Like Paul Graham from Y Combinator, which is like a startup accelerator, Noah. And Paul basically has this saying that when the young people are starting out with ideas, commit to your idea for 10 years. And the reason for that, Noah, is because people say fail fast, but it takes a long time for you to even fail in business. It's not that you will start out with something and you will immediately be successful or you will immediately fail. You might actually fail in 7 or 9 years. And if the business goes well, then you're going to be stuck in it for at least a decade or longer. So that's kind of like been my learning. I've seen that even the ideas that failed for me, like I literally had to spend 5-6 years. Like my last idea failed and I was in it for 6 years and it was a grind the entire time. And I wish someone had told me that whatever you're about to do, it's not like a job where you can flip it in 6 months. Like failure or success, you're going to be tied to it for the next decade of your life. So you got to love it. Like you really need to believe in the idea, the vision you have, whatever you're doing, and just commit to it for next several years, because it's going to be a longer road than whatever you think, right? Like even like Zuckerberg's like crazy success, right? Like whatever success means to him, he's been with Meta for almost 2 decades now, feels right. Like it, and like love it or hate it, I don't know if Meta's successful, right? Like in his whatever he wants to do, but he's caught in it and he's going to be in it for next several decades, whether he likes it or not. Similarly for Elon Musk, I think Elon's tied to Tesla no matter what he decides, right? Since 2005 or whenever he first got involved in it, right? Even though it's so successful, but it's not that you can step away from it that easily. It takes like multi-decades worth of work. So I think that's something that I wish people had told me, and I would have been very deliberate about the vision or the idea that I'm picking, whether I want to do it for the next decade or not.
Well, that's great advice. Well, Gaurav, thank you for being on the show today, and thank you for telling the creation story of Jiva.
Thanks, Noah. Thanks for having me.
And this concludes another chapter of Code Story. Code Story is hosted and produced by Noah Labhart. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the podcasting app of your choice. And when you get a chance, leave us a review. Both things help us out tremendously. And thanks again for listening.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ12. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ12 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.